This is for my friends at Surya. Wanted to address some of the questions that we had around invoices that were stored. One of my YouTube videos, I believe, kind of covers this, but just in case, let's take a look. So we do have several different what we call search dialogues, and the default one, the one we usually use in AP, is this one called Invoice Search. Now, this one is designed, if I search for everything in the file cabinet, to just show me documents with a document type of invoice in. By default, that's what we call our invoices, and that is what not only will store it in the cabinet and let us see it in the invoice search, but it is also what triggers the workflow. Reason being, some organizations may store statements, they may store packing lists, all different kinds of things that would not apply to the workflow, and that's a way to just find invoices. If we want to find other documents, we can use one of the other search dialogues. If it's a credit memo, a purchase order, packing list, what have you, if I select this all doc search, or there's also one called detailed search and one called, I believe, all field search. I kind of simplified this one so it has a little bit fewer fields, but this lets us go in here, and if you notice, we have an additional field compared to the invoice search, this document type. So it allows us to select a document type, an invoice versus a packing list versus a purchase order, but we can also see, I think we accidentally labeled the document type with the vendor name. So if we do a search with nothing in the fields, that way it'll show us everything in the cabinet. Now we see we have some document types that are not invoice in. Little tip. We'll give you the tip in a second. Actually, let's just look at how to correct this. So this Dalton print shop, if we want to change this, all we do is right click here on the line, and we don't want to use edit. That's for downloading and editing an editable document like a Word document or an Excel file. We want to use the edit index entries. There's also a hotkey if you're interested. We're going to edit index entries. Now we can take out the vendor name and we can select invoice in this case, or credit memo, or whatever it happens to be. So now you see that is changed. And now if we do a search here, it will come up in this search as well. What if we want to change more than one? What if we need to edit a bunch of index entries? Well, here there's, I'll go ahead and sort by the document type so we can see a few of them. And I see 3 at least. So let's go ahead and pick those 2. And if I hold the control key down, it will select multiples. If I hold the shift key down, it'll do the whole range. Control A also works to select everything if I wanted to change everything. But now I have these 3 highlighted, and I'm going to right click again. And I'm not going to edit one index entry, I'm going to edit multiple index entries. So now I just have to pick the field. So if I were changing the company name, but I'm going to change the document type. And let's see what our options are. Oh, I want to change them all to invoice in. Now I'm going to edit. It will change all of them. That is also a great feature. Like, for example, if I wanted to change the vendor name of the existing, of some existing entries, like DDC West LLC. Let's say I wanted to drop the LLC. I can pick all of them, or actually, better yet, I will do a search for all of the DDC West, and I can select them and right click, or actually I can use this ellipse and say change index entries for all the documents in the search result, pick the company, change it to whatever the new value is, and click edit. So that works well if maybe I have the vendor in a couple different ways and I want to change them all to be the same. That edit feature, edit index entries feature, works really well and is super easy. So just a tip on storing. So when DocuWare is first learning these invoices, right, when we go to store it using intelligent indexing, it may not recognize that this was an invoice. So we simply want to start typing I and pick the invoice in option if this is in fact an invoice. If it were something else, we can train it that it's a credit memo or what have you. But just real quick to make sure that that invoice in is in the document type field, and you will be good to go. So hopefully this helps you all out a little bit and will get us rolling. Have a good one.